Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. So, on the back of that last Pursuit of the Truth, when I was talking about disability and about teachers and I know I've mentioned it in previous ones, about the way our system works, that the people in the jobs are not necessarily the right ones, because unfortunately everyone has to make a living and make money to be able to survive, and therefore people do things that they're not actually good at or they don't enjoy, and therefore people that's why we have all these cases that we see on the news of abuse and allegations and etc. And almost as if to back it up, this came on Sky News about these allegations about care homes and how disabled children and people are being looked after or not looked after. And the person, the interviewer, even mentioned the point that I made about, because are the right people in the job. So I just wanted to play that to you to show that it's not just me talking this stuff. This is backed up by the so-called people that you all believe in.
Of children. Fashion. Amanda, thank you very much. Now, a review of the treatment of children with disabilities in care homes has recommended a more joined-up approach, with health and education watchdogs urged to carry out joint inspections. It's one of 9 recommendations made by the Child Safeguarding Practice Review Panel after a review of 3 care homes in October found a culture of abuse and harm. Well, joining me now is Dame Christine Lenihan, Director of the National Children's Bureau. Very good to talk to you today, Dame Christine. Just remind us of the kind of treatment that these children suffered.
What we saw was systematic abuse, so children were physically injured, there was sexual harm, children were neglected, there was emotional harm, we had instances where food were used as threats against children. Children weren't fed properly, they were educated properly, so their medication wasn't right, and children had basic things taken away from them, like their methods of communication.
So what do you think of what this report is suggesting? Do you think that it actually will make much difference to these children?
I really hope that it does. I've been working with children like this for a long time, and this is not the first time a report like this has come out. And so we are clear, and I've been working with the panel to develop a set of recommendations that government must take on, because if they don't take on, and they don't take on the recommendations, then this will happen again.
Where do you feel the fault lies in the way that these children were treated? Why do you think it happened?
I think the interesting thing is it was a systematic failure. So it would be easy to say it was one agency's fault or another, but it's not the case. It is about the fact that we don't have a national picture of these children. We don't have a national map of provision. Ideally, we want these children to get the support they need close to their families, close to home. We want services to be integrated, so we want them to get the best education, health and care that they should get. And we want a workforce that is trained and competent and knows what it's doing, and we want a regulation and inspection system that makes sure that quality is at the heart of it. And in all of those elements, this system failed.
I mean, does this feel a bit like Groundhog Day to you before? We have had reports before that have highlighted how children with disabilities are mistreated. It seems that nothing really seems to change.
It's probably one of the most difficult things. I've been doing this job for a long time, and we have been here before. And that doesn't mean that things don't change in some ways, but until this is the time to have a fundamental look at how we look at a small population of children with complex needs and how we make them human. Any big abuse scandal, at the heart of it is because somebody forgot the people they were working with were human beings, and that's what's happened here. And I suppose my message to government is the general developments in special educational needs, the general developments in children's social care are very welcome, but they will not address this group of children unless we specifically look at this group of children's needs and the solutions that are needed to make work happen. Because actually, do you know what? We can do better by these children. We can have good results. We can have a good childhood. And that's what these children and families deserve.
How much of a problem is those who are working in that industry, and the fact that it is a low-paid job, which doesn't really seem, for many people, to be very appealing? It must be incredibly difficult doing a job if perhaps you don't feel that you're getting a great deal of recognition. It's not possibly attracting those with the best qualifications into the industry.
I think that's right. I mean, again and again, what you hear is a national workforce shortage in social care, children's social care, adult social care, and there is a definite national shortage of staff who wants to work with children in residential services where those children are challenging. And so what you want is a really strong message from government and from providers of these services, which is actually that these are valued children and therefore we value the staff working for them. So when we take staff off the street and we pay them the minimum wage without a proper training programme, which is what happened here, it's hardly surprising that children end up being abused.
Dame Christine Lennon, good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Well, there you go. Yeah, and it seems like what I've come across in my small time of dealing with disability and autism and governments and funding and school systems is expressed there perfectly. It's the same thing I'm coming up across. I just got from the council now, they sent me another email from the customer relations team telling me that they're going to have a response within 20 days. I mean, they've already had how many days? They already replied to me that they were going to reply to me. Now they're replying to me again, telling me that they will reply to me within 20 days. But I doubt I'm going to solve this problem, is it? And I suspect they're going to come back with a copy and paste and, wow, this is the system and etc. And when you see this is happening, where this lady is showing, and a report showing how they systemically failed children, disabled children. And you think, because when everyone talks about the system that we live within, everyone talks about how great it is and how, how, especially when people talk about other types of countries and they try and put them down and put ours up and all the West or whatever. And you look how children, disabled children who should be safeguarded, and look at the things that are happening. It seems like we haven't really changed that much from our past, and we don't have a future that looks any better than the present that we're in. I mean, it's disgusting, really, isn't it? And you think that's why, when I make all these arguments on the pursuit of truth, people question how, why would anyone lie? Why would anyone do this? But look at the fundamentals here. Look at how a government and people working and providers and those people who are charged with the job were able to disenfranchise disabled children. Disabled children. Children per se is bad enough, but disabled children who can't fight for themselves, who can't fend for themselves, who rely on those adults to look after them, even they have not been looked after by the system that we're living in. And yet we all want to keep it, and we all believe that the same people and the same system are going to care and change it. If they've done it in the first place, what makes you think it's going to be any different in the future? Because the same people are being taught the same things over and over again. The system is the problem, not the people. Humans are humans, but the system, that's the problem. Our system of money, our system of how we interact with humanity on a global scale, on a macro scale. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that to you because it just illustrated what I was saying in the last few pursuits of the truth, and it illustrates what I go on about for this 600 pursuits of the truth about the way that we're all living. How many more examples do we need to see that it's just not working? These small little band-aid changes are never going to change it. We need to change the fundamentals, the roots, and that's money and government and borders and how we see each other as different, whereas we're all one, we're all human beings. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.